Welcome back. In today's lesson, what we're going to be doing is finding out the area percentages of certain objects. And in this case, what we want to do is we want to find the area percentage of the white area in here, the black area of the leaf, and the yellow regions here of the fungus that's on the leaf. Now, I've already worked in Photoshop, and I've taken the leaf and I've thresholded it and I brought it down. I've taken the fungus and made it more defined so we could see it a little bit better. But the point of this tutorial is to learn how to do the actual area of that. So what you want to do is you want to create alpha channels from each of the sections, of the white section, of the black section, and of the yellow section. And in order to do that, you have to come over here and take a look at your channels in this palette. You can see the RGB red, green, and blue. Well, we're going to actually be making a new alpha channel. But before we do that, we want to select the fungus first, so this yellowish color. So let's go up to Select Color Range, and then simply just take our eyedropper tool here. You notice we have some eyedropper tools, okay? And make sure we have sampled colors. I'm going to come over here and then click on that, okay? And what I'll do now is I'll take that little fuzziness slider and slide it all the way up to probably about 189 or so. And I want to make sure that I don't get any other color. You might see some other objects or the ruler pop into this little image here. And that looks pretty good. I'm just going to hit OK. So as you can see, it's done a pretty good job here of selecting all of those little specks and so forth. Let me zoom in here for you, okay, so you can see that a little better. All right, so it selected pretty much all of those. So let me then zoom back out like this. All right, and now since we have now that selection, what we want to do is come over to the channels palette and then click this little plus sign like this. Now we have a new alpha channel, but we want to fill this selection in with a white color. So right here, if you don't have these two colors in your toolbar, you can just simply hit D on the keyboard and then hit X. And we'll just bring the white, keep hitting X, and it just swaps those out with foreground and background. So I'll put it to the foreground color with the X. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fill that in the alpha channel. So you just simply go Option Delete on the Mac computer. All right, just like that. And now if I hit Command D to deselect, you're going to notice that it's a pretty good looking selection here of all of that yellow. So we've made a pretty good alpha channel. We want to see what percentages those are of this in this particular card that we're using here. So let me go back up to RGB layer here to bring back the color, and then we want to now make a selection of the black of the leaf. So we're going to go up here again, we're going to go to Select Color Range here, and then simply just take your eyedropper tool and then click on the black area here. But now if you notice, with that fuzziness slider all the way to the right, it's starting to pick up the blackish colors or the dark colors in the ruler. So what you can do is you can just simply slide that back and then release and see where that is right now. And you basically want to just bring it to where it just disappears. So it looks like about right there, probably around 59, 60 or so. It's going to be dependent on your computer and what your image has anyway. But then we're just going to hit OK. And as you can see, it looks pretty good. It grabbed all of the selection of the black, excluding the yellowish color here of this fungus. So I'm going to come over here and click on the plus sign. And again, since we have the white as our foreground color here in the toolbar, what I want to do is I want to hit Option Delete and fill that selection in this alpha channel. Again, Command D, deselect, and we can see now that we have a beautiful white color in this alpha channel, excluding the black that's inside of that. Okay, so let's go back again to the RGB layer, and then simply go back to now we want to select the white section here. Now, we have the magic wand tool. We pretty much can do that too. You just simply click and then it'll just select the outside of that. There's several different ways you can make a selection of that, but you can either do it that way, or again, you can just simply go up to Select Color Range here, and then with your eyedropper tool, just click on the white area. And that did a pretty good job, as you can see here. So we're going to hit OK. And again, then it just selected that white area, and we're going to come over to the channels and make a new channel like that. And then simply just look at our foreground color here. and then hit Option Delete. Okay, so there is and Command D to deselect. So let's go back to this here. All right, so now what we want to do is I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. I'm going to bring this, holding the space bar, bring it up a little bit. And now we want to simply make the calculations of exactly what percentages there are of these three areas that we just made selections and alpha channels of. So what you do is you simply just go up to the window, flyout, and then come all the way down here to the measurement log right there. What I'll do is I'll pull this up for you so you can see us a little bit better here like that. And now what we want to do is we want to make a selection. That's what the alpha channels are for, to make a selection. So I want to make a selection of the yellow areas first. So I'm going to come over here, put my cursor over the top of the icon here, of the little thumbnail on that layer, and hold down Command and then just click. So now as you can see, what happened here was it just selected that alpha channel of the yellow. So now of that particular amount of yellow, that selection of the selection, I'm going to come over to the right side of my measurement log palette here and click that little flyout. And then it says Record Measurements. So when I click that here, you're going to see a bunch of numbers come up. Okay, let me just kind of drag this out a little bit for you. And it's telling you, and there's quite a few of them, you can see, like I can scroll through here. Look at all those. Every single one of those is every little teeny little selection, including the larger ones here, okay? And it's telling you that there were 226 selections in that alpha channel. But we don't need all of these other ones. All we need is that top one because it has that number right there is what we're looking for. So I want to click this, slide this all the way down to the bottom, and then hold down Shift and like that, and then just simply come over here. I'm going to scroll to the top again. I have all those selected except the top one, because that gives you the total area of them all. And I'm going to just simply hit, let's slip down a little bit like that. I'm going to simply just hit Delete. Okay, so that's the first one. Now the second one we want to do, I'll bring this down a little bit like that, is going to be the leaf itself, the black leaf. So I'm going to again hold down Command, click that icon right there. Okay, and then we're going to go now to the log and then go to the little flyout over here to the right side and then record the measurements of that. Now, if you notice, there's not as many, okay? But there are, some that are in between here, and so forth. So it's telling us that there are only 22 of those, but that's the only number we need is that one. So I'm going to click on this layer and then come down here. We're just going to get rid of those, delete. Okay, so we have the area and you can make calculations right now just by adding these two up and then divide by that total number, and it'll give you the area of percentage of what the percentage of the fungus is to the leaf. But we want to make sure that we have all three in this particular case for this particular assignment. So now what we want to do is go to the final one. Now you can just hit Command D, delete, deselect that, and come down here and let's get the white area now. So I'm going to hold down Command, click that again, and sure enough, it made that selection on the outside of that leaf, and we're going to come over here and then simply just fly that out and hit Record Measurements. And there was only one, as you can see, because there's just one big huge white area outside of that. It's telling you it's a pretty large area compared to the other two. All right, so there are the three numbers that are in question right now that we need to know. So now let's take a look at how this works. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my calculator, and I'm going to pull up my notes like this. All right, and then we're going to take a look again at the log like this. All right. So now we want to basically take the areas, all of these areas here, and then add them all up into one gigantic number. So what we have here is, I'll do the top one first, so it's 45, 0, 132 plus 47, 39, 199. So we'll just double check. Yep. Okay, hit plus, and then we'll add up the last one. 131, 804, 06 equals. And that's the number that we're looking for. So we're going to take that number right here and then write it down. 183, 69, 737. There we go. Okay. Now, what we want to do now is we want to take that's the sum of those three numbers here. So now what we want to do is we want to take each number and then find out what percentage of that is going to be. So let me clear this. Make sure it's cleared. That a few times. All right. So I'm going to take now the fungus here and then simply take that number 45, 0, 132 divided by this number here, the total number, 183, 697, 37 equals. So what we have here now is we have 0.0245. And what that is basically telling us is that you always take the decimal point and move it 2 places to the right. So what that's really going to be is, I'm going to put a dot there, 2% of the entire space of the whole card right here, of the whole entire rectangle of that card. And we're going to test this. We're going to make sure that it is in fact true. So let me hit clear here a few times like this. Now we're going to do the black area. So let's do this. 47, 39, 199 divided by, again, the total number, 183, 69, 737 equals. Okay. Now I'll take that number and write that down. 0.2579. And again, that's going to be, we're going to move that decimal place 2 places to the right to give us our percentage here, like that, 25%. So this whole black area right here took up exactly 25% of that entire card. So basically 4 of these would have filled up the entire area of that whole white space, this whole area here. So let's go to the next one. Interesting. All right. And the final one, let me clear this out. And then we want to get the white area. The white area was 131,80406 divided by, again, the total, 183, 69, 737 equals. Now that's telling us that this right here is 0.7175. Again, take the decimal 2 points to the right, which would be here. Okay, you can remove that one. So what we're actually looking at now is that these 3 numbers here, okay, should add up to almost 99.9 something here. I mean, I didn't add the entire decimal point in, but if you did, you'd get exactly 100%. So let's test this. Okay, so we got 2.45 plus 25.79 plus 71.75 equals. And there's your 99.99999%, or almost 100% of that. So that worked out pretty good. We figure out the actual area. Now, if we wanted to figure out what was the percentage of the yellow inside the fungus inside of the actual leaf itself, well, then you just simply would use these 2 numbers. So by doing that, would be, you'd have to add the first 2 numbers up here, not the white. So I would just go simply 45, okay, 0, 132, okay, plus 47, 39, 199 equals. So that right there, that number, the total would be, okay, so it would be 518, 9, 331, just like that. That's the total number. Now you just simply take the first number. So now we're just going with the leaf itself. What is the percentage of that in the leaf? So what we're looking at here now is, let me clear this out, is going to be, again, 450, 450, 132 divided by the total number, 518,9331 equals, okay? So it looks like it's telling us it's going to be approximately almost 9%. So it's 0.08, like that. 6, 7. Okay, again, we'll take that off. We'll go 2 places over, 2. We're looking at 8, almost, almost 9%. Now let's get the area of the leaf. Clear this. We're going to go to 47, 39, 199 divided by the total, 518,9331 equals. And now what's interesting is you take a look at that now, it's 0.91325, okay, like that. Okay, bring this over, 91, there. So 91% of this leaf is not infected with the fungus. About almost 9% of this is. So let's just add this up just to be sure to end this. We're going to go to 8.67 just to check that it goes to at least 99% plus 91.325 equals. And there you go. So that's how you do it. That's how you're working with percentages in shapes inside of Adobe Photoshop using the measurement log.